name is Jackie Ayok from Ohio. So I will be presenting Tanchot soup 201. A couple of years ago, I did cook some Tanchot soup that was around 200. So I probably must have been promoted to 202. So to prepare Tanchot, it takes a little combination of a couple of things. First of all, I'm going to introduce you to my ingredients. They're not limited. You can put more than this, but I'm going to be showing you some of those that I use for my own soup. I don't want to start with this right now. Come over here, my camera lady. Here is some fish. It really doesn't start with fish, but I have fish. I have some meat in the pot. I decided to use cow food because it's not as fatty as some other meat. I don't like lean meat, so I use cow food. And in my pot, I have my cow meat cooking. So for the purpose of the video, I decided to pre-cook some of the stuff, like my fish, my meat, and the cow food and the meat is pre-cooked. So to cook the meat, you want to start with cooking the meat. First of all, to cook the meat, you need onion. You chop the onion. You can design it whatever way you want it. Some people like the onion straight, some people want it slanted, some people cube and square, but it doesn't matter. Some salt, I like ionized salt. And I have pepper. You don't have to put pepper if you don't want, but it goes. And this is crayfish. And this is egusi. Some Maggi. There's several types of Maggi. I use the cubes and this. Sometimes I'm out of the cubes, but sometimes I use this. It doesn't matter which one you use. This is chicken flavor, and this is beef. I use a little bit of each. Sometimes it depends which one I grab first. And here is the meat, cow food. And here is the secret of Tanchot soup. What makes it different from other soups. This little nuts here. This I don't know how to call it in English, but I'm going to say it in the dialect, which is called Nsisibe. In the upper Ejakam, they call it Nsisibe. In the lower Ejakam, they call it Nsebe. Nsebe is one of the ingredients. I'm going to explain more about Nsebe later. This is bush mango. It doesn't matter whether it's sweet or bitter mango, it's bush mango. Because there are two types of bush mango. The sweet one that we suck and the bitter one that we just can't suck, that is bitter. But they're very medicinal. I mean the skin. And this is a little bit of jangsa. It's optional. You don't have to use jangsa if you want to cook it. That's optional. And this is the honorable Tanchot. Tanchot is a name. I don't know where it came from, but it's called Tanchot. In the upper, some places they call it Tanchot. In the lower Ejakam side, they call it Chora Chora. But the funniest thing is that this Nsisibe, which they call it bush pepper or Tanchot seeds, does not come from this Tanchot. There are two types of Tanchot. One of them is, the one that produces this is called Nsebe, Ajen Sebe, or Nsisibe. So Ajen Sebe is the one that produces these little nuts, the spice, the hot pepper, the bush pepper. They look the same. The difference between Tanchot and the other Nsebe, Ajen Sebe, is that Ajen Sebe, they're bigger, and they're the ones that produce this little bush pepper. The Nsisibe, the Tanchot, which the lower Ejam calls it Chora Chora, they're smaller, and most often they're not as common as the bigger ones that produce this bush pepper. These ones are mostly found in the thick forest. You see them very fine. They grow in a root. Then on the tree or by the roots, by the side of the tree, they put these fine leaves. They come like a bunch. Unfortunately, we don't have that sample here. So What I did is you harvest the leaves, you blend them, you dry them, wash them, then you dry them. So when you dry them, they turn to this. The leaves like spinach. They look like the shape of spinach. So when you dry them, they become like this. And after drying them, you either roll them with your hands after washing your hands. And when you finish, that is how you store them. You can put them in a plastic bag and store them. And when you blend them, when you want to cook, you dry it a little bit. This is just a stone. This is what I use for blending in the place of a machine because I don't want it too fine when I blend it. In Upper Ejakam, they call it ite, which is 1. In Lower Ejakam, they call it dai, which is 1. It's just simply stone. It's a stone. And that's what I use to blend my leaves, my tanchot. I have some here. I have some in here already, so I'm gonna just chop them with my stone while I'm cooking. My meat is here cooking. So this is my meat, which I'm cooking already. I'll let it cook for some time to the boiling point. And also, you have some oil, palm oil. There's so many varieties of palm oil. This is carotino, sorry. Carotino is the brand of Ola Ola, which this is the one I prefer to use for some reason. I can explain why I decided to use this, but this is the brand that I like. And also, not forgetting, when you blend the egusi in the ejakam, the upper ejakam, you call it osan. In the lower ejakam side, around Tabo and Bakrem, they call it osan. Imojo, they call it osan. But some other places like Otu, Imojo, Kayoke, they call it nkon. It's the same thing. Still ejakam. And when you blend the egusi, you put some water in it, blend it in a machine, in a blender. When you blend it, it turns like this. When you put water in it, it turns like this. And here, since it's kind of hard to make it the way we make it, usually we boil water. You use the same water that you cook the meat to mix the egusi in it. But instead of that, I prefer to put it in the microwave for about a couple of minutes. And after I cook it for some time, this is what I'll get. That's the same egusi that I cooked some earlier this morning. Excuse me, a couple of minutes. Oh, and my daughter just said, put your apron on. I forgot my apron.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to put on my... Okay, for the sake. I'm going to put my apron on. Do I look like a cook now? Okay,
Yeah.
so sorry about that. Let the video continue. Okay, that's the egusi. When you blend it, it turns like this. After you cook it in the microwave for some time, then you chop it out with a spoon. So this is egusi, the same thing like this one. And this one is a crayfish, which is this one. I don't like it too dusty, then it makes the soup thick and it changes the consistency of the soup. So I do the same thing, put it in a Ziploc bag and I chop it up with the same spoon and tea. I just keep beating on it for some time until I get the consistency that I want and I save it. Just like the Tanchot, which is the main dish of the soup. That's where the name comes from, Tanchot soup. So I just keep beating on it until I get the consistency that I want. until I blend it to the way I want it to look like in the soup. So while I go back to check my pot, exactly, it's boiling. So I stir, give a little stir. So I'm going to be adding my ingredients as I go. This one has some Maggi, onion, and salt. You can smell it. Sometimes if you don't want to check the flavor, whether the salt is enough or not, you can smell it. It will tell you. For some reason it will. So I want to add some fish. I will add the fish. It doesn't matter what kind of fish. You can put any. You can use any fish. I'll cover it to cook for a little while, and to get this mango, you don't put this in the soup like this. You have to blend it, and it doesn't matter how you blend it. So I like to blend it together. I put water, I put in the blender, and put some water. If you have enough water from the meat, you can use the same water to blend the stuff together. So I blend the mango. As I told you earlier, the njangsa is optional, you don't have to put it. But I like to put the nsisibe, the bush pepper. There's some other spices like era. I don't know how to say that in the upper jargon, but era too can go here, but I don't have that in the house. So I'm going to go with what I have. So this is, when you blend it, this is what you're going to get. This is the mango and the bush pepper and a little bit of dansa and pepper. I have the pepper in there again. Again, pepper is optional. You don't, for people who eat pepper, you can put it. I don't like pepper that much, but the taste is different when you add a little bit of pepper in it. So that being said, so I'm going to put my egusi so that it will be cooking. I want to stir it again. Some people like the egusi in lumps. I don't like mine in lumps, so I chop it up with my wooden spoon. I let it cook while I add my palm oil. Can be cooking. This is palm oil. I'm just going to put enough. I don't know how to measure it, but I'm just going to put enough. And also, some people like the soup really, really red. I don't like mine really red. So I'm going to put like 4 scoops of the spoons of oil. I can be adding as I go. I'll leave the meat a little later because I think I cook it a little too much. So it's soft, so I want to put it last. If you put it now, the whole thing is going to scatter. So I'll add it a little later. So I'm ready to taste my soup. That was a little for the soup. A little down for the soup. Tastes good already. But I want to cover it for the oil to cook for about 5 minutes. You can be dancing while you're waiting for your food to cook. Okay, I'm going to add the mango and the bush pepper in the soup so that everything can cook together. Also, this depends on the consistency of the soup that you want. Some people like it very thick, some people like it thin. This has mango. The mango, I want to put the tanchot so that it can be cooking too because it's hot. There's the tanchot going in. Just keep stirring until it's mixed. It looks like it needs some more oil. As I told you, we can add oil as we go. And I'll put my crayfish. That's the crayfish you just added. And I'll let it cook. While I'm doing that, I'm going to add a little bit of my cow food. Try to be generous, not to put the whole thing. I'm stirring to mix them together and let it cook. Then we're done.
That's it?
Not yet. We'll let it cook. little bit of salt. So I keep stirring. Basically, that's Tanchot soup. And Tanchot soup can be eaten with either gari or fufu while my soup is cooking. I'm just going to cover it and let it cook. And fufu, there are several types of fufu. People eat it with plantain fufu, cocoyam fufu, whatever fufu, achu fufu. But we cook it with fufu or dairy. And fufu I use, for my own fufu I use ola fufu. And my gari I use, I know it's Ghana gari. So what I do with my gari or fufu, I make it the quick way. I'm gonna use this spoon. Take some water, put the water in the fufu and mix it. Until you get the consistency that you want. Adding water.
Should I pause it?
Okay. Come one, come all. Soup is ready. Tanchot soup is ready. And we're done with Tanchot soup.
Pause. Mommy, I'm gonna pause it. There.
Hold on.
There.
Finally, this is the finished product of all the combination of the tanchot, egusi, pepper, mango, hot pepper, crayfish, palm oil, maggi, and this is the finished product. The fufu took about 6 minutes to cook, the gari 3 minutes. So all you do, depends on which one you want, pick it up, dip it in the soup and eat it the way you want. 2 more challenges. After you eat it, if you can tell me then how you say water leaf in either dialect and plum, come one, come all, good appetite.